I think do you know what fascism is? You know what fascism is?
To America,
you know what Nazis are?
No, wait, sir, wait, sir. When fascism comes to America, it will not be in brown and black shirts. It will not be with jack boots. It will be Nike sneakers and smiley shirts. Smiley. The fascism. Germany lost the Second World War. Fascism won it.
The U.S. military has attacked another alleged drug-carrying boat in the Caribbean. It is the 5th time this week and the 10th time overall that the U.S. has struck a vessel that it says was involved in drug trafficking. At least 43 people have been killed in those strikes. This morning, the Pentagon also announced the U.S. is moving an aircraft
at mapping networks, identifying who's connected to who inside terrorist organizations. It's just the media is used to hearing that when it pertains to Afghanistan and Iraq and ISIS and Al-Qaeda. But if you reframe how you understand the world in our own hemisphere, that's exactly what these foreign terrorist organizations are. And so we will track them, we will map them, we will network them, and we will hunt them and kill them because they're trying to and they are killing and poisoning the American people.
In which either we do the kinds of things I indicated in summary to you today, or else what you're going to have is not a government. You're going to have something like a Nazi regime. Maybe not initially at the surface. What you're going to have is a government which cannot pass legislation, of meaningful legislation.
The second longest government shutdown in U.S. history. It continues today, and the Senate has already left D.C. for a long weekend without coming up with a deal. As we've been reporting, federal programs like SNAP, they're running out this month because of the shutdown.
How does a government which cannot pass meaningful legislation under conditions of crisis govern? They govern in every case in known history by what's known as crisis management.
Or courts stand in the president's way. The president says he could get around them by invoking the more than 200-year-old Insurrection Act.
So far, it hasn't been necessary, but we have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I'd do that.
In other words, just like the Reichstagsfire in Germany, how did that happen? Well, a Dutchman who was a known lunatic was used to set fires as a provocateur. And he went around Germany setting fires. And one night, with no security available for the Reichstag, he went into the Reichstag building and set the joint on fire. And Hitler came out and said, well, let's hope the communists did it.
For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now.
And on the basis of a provocation, that is crisis management, they rammed through the Notverordnung, which established Hitler as dictator of Germany. What you're going to get with a frustrated Bush administration, if it's determined to prevent itself from being opposed, its will, you're going to get crisis management, where members of the special warfare types of the secret government, the secret police teams and so forth, will set off provocations.
There are more guns on the south side of Chicago than in a military arsenal. And wait until ICE hits that. Then we're going to have Trump having a reason to declare the Insurrection Act in force and mount real operations on our urban centers. And that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to use ICE and the militia to spark an insurrection that he can then take advantage of, call the act into being, and deploy military forces across the country.
Which will be used to bring about dictatorial powers into motion in the name of crisis management. You will have small wars set off in various parts of the world.
Today, President Trump warned strikes on land will be next,
which the Bush administration will respond to with crisis management methods of provocation. That's what you'll get. And that's what the problem is. And you have to face that. You've got to control this process now while you still have the power to do so. Don't be like the dumb Germans who, after Hitler was appointed to the chancellorship in January 1933, sat back and say, no, we're going to defeat him at the next election. There was never a next election.
Does he need a third term in order to see that job through?
Well, he's going to get a third term. So Trump 28, Trump is going to be president in 28, and people just ought to get accommodated with that.
So what about the 22nd Amendment?
There's many different alternatives. At the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is, but there's a plan, and President Trump will be the president in 28. He's a vehicle of divine providence. He's an instrument. He's very imperfect. He's not churchy, not particularly religious, but he's an instrument of divine will, and you can tell this of how he's pulled this off.
It was just this yeah vote for Hitler as dictator, because the Notverordnung of February 1933 eliminated the political factor. And that's the danger you'll get here. These guys, pushed to the wall, will come out with knives in the dark. They will not fight you politically. They will get you in the back. They will use their thugs to get you. That's their method. Know it.
The world that we inhabit now, generation by generation, and we will defend this world. We will defend goodness. We will defend light. We will defend virtue. You cannot terrify us. You cannot frighten us. You cannot threaten us. Because we are on the side of goodness. We are on the side of God.